We know that nothing happens by chance, that everything is by divine appointment, and we kept our divine appointment here today on this glorious day. This is Thanksgiving week. Our theme is sacred agreements, and we agreed to be here on the planet at this time, whether we are consciously aware of it or not. And our theme for the day is putting my fiery spirit into action. We know that faith without works is dead. We put the works with the faith, the action with intention. And when we put action with intention, we get the manifestation, the demonstration of that intention. So today I want to dedicate today's service to Jesse Pinder, who would have been 105 years old in February. And he made his transition last week. And he wrote a book, and it was called From the Cat House to the White House. We all remember Jesse. What an amazing spirit. He was with us for 14 years, and then he came to the door and he said that he was experiencing through cancer, and then moved in with his granddaughter in Simi Valley. And this book was on the New York Times bestseller list, From the Cat House to the White House. That he was raised in the South, and he started working in the cat house as a cook. And he was very good at what he did. And he was so good that he kept expanding, and he kept unfolding in his art of culinary expertise, and found himself as President Ford's personal chef. And he said to President Ford, "If I'd known you were so nice, I would have voted for you." And President Ford said, "Oh, you don't have to vote for me to be my personal chef. You're pretty wonderful." And we didn't have potluck that he did not bring. And I mean, he was with us 14 years, so he was like, even at 100 years old, making lemon meringue pie that was totally to live for. It was just mouth-watering. So Jesse, I know that you are shining your light on us, and this beautiful African-American man that would have been 105 on the planet in February. And I want to say to all of you, if you have not read From the Cat House to the White House, you can get it on Amazon. It is a wonderful, wonderful unfoldment of his life and his spirituality. And today, as we acknowledge putting our fiery spirit into action, that it doesn't matter what we do. We're not a doingness, we're a beingness. And as we come into life to give our gifts, our talents, our expertise, whatever it is we want to contribute, that we leave the world a little bit better than we found it. And I was reading an article. It was about ordinary people doing extraordinary things. It was just a great article. 15 people, ordinary people, doing extraordinary things. And the very first person that they acknowledged was Rosa Parks. And I thought, how amazing, because on her 70th birthday, she came to San Diego. She spoke at the Scottish Rite Temple. She was being honored. It was a great day for her. And they had me seated next to her. And I said, I just want to acknowledge the woman that ignited, that put her fiery spirit into action and ignited the entire civil rights movement. You were amazing. She goes, well, you know, I sat down. I've been working really hard that day. Sat down on that bus, and when this man wanted me to move, I was just too tired to move. So I said no. And she said, and then as I thought about it, I was just too tired to give in. And I was going to sit there. And I said, well, I just want to acknowledge that that took courage, and that I can't even fathom what you went through. But I want to acknowledge your amazing spirit, that you put your fiery spirit into action and ignited something that was so powerful. Because we are all created in the image and likeness of God. Dr. Martin Luther King said it best. He said, you know, that darkness will never drive out darkness. Only light can do that. And hate will never drive out hate. Only love can do that. So we put our fiery spirit into action, and we see that there are inequities on the planet. And in our way of life, in metaphysics, we that yes, in spirit, it's perfect, it's complete, and it's whole. That there is perfection in spirit. But we live in this relative world, right? And the relative world of what? Effects and appearances, conditions, inequity that is out there. So we have the opportunity to take a stand. And when we take a stand in the truth shall set us free. And that truth lives and moves and has its being at the center of our one life, which is God's life. And when we get that we're here for such a very short time, it's like fleeting. I love when Bob Hope was making his transition. He looked heavenward to God and said, "Surprise me." Surprise me. In other words, that, this door's closing. We're going into a new experience and a new expression. Surprise me. Allow me to see with, that inner eye, that we're all here for a divine purpose and for a destiny. And when we realize that sometimes it's just about giving out love and smiles and making people feel good. And I know that there are people that do that. I love that we have someone in our community. David, stands out and waves at everybody coming into Palm Springs, and he tells everyone he loves them. Every one of us, you tell us how much you love us. That is pretty remarkable. And it uplifts the energy field. So when I sat next and had a conversation with Rosa Parks, and she said, I was just too tired to give in, but wait. I was just too tired to absolutely surrender what I knew was right. So there's a surrendering process that goes in within us that lets go and lets God do what God does best. And that this is my plaintive theme in my life, to let go and let God do what God does best by means of each and every one of us. That we are the experience God is having, and it is a great one. As our humanness gives way to the divine, the Christ consciousness arises triumphant and victorious. And one of my very favorite legends, and I think it's a powerful legend, and we need to think about it once in a while, is the legend of the touchstone. And in the alchemy, the ancient alchemy, the touchstone had a special property. And that property was it could turn ordinary metal into gold. And so the difference between the touchstone and a regular stone is the touchstone was warm to the touch, to the feel. And ordinary stones were cold. And he had this ancient parchment from the Library of Alexandria, one of the very few things that were saved after the Great Fire. And he took out the little parchment that gave him a map to get to the Isle of the Touchstone. And he got there. And I mean, the beach was just filled with stones. Now, I lived on the ocean in Coronado, and I used to take my little rocks, and I'd see a special rock, right, and I'd pick it up, and I'd just feel the energy of it. And I'd go, oh, this is just so sacred. And my daughter would say, Mom, can't a rock just be a rock? No, this is sacred. There's special energy in this rock. Feel it. I don't really feel anything. You got to kind of be there, right? But for me, everything is vibrating with energy. And so he found the Isle of the Touchstone. And I just love this. He would pick up a stone, it would be cold, so he'd throw it down, and then he'd pick up another one, it would be cold, he'd throw it down, and he realized, I'm going to be picking up the same stones that I picked up prior. So he would pick up a stone, it would be cold, and he just threw it into the sea, so he didn't pick up the same stones. And a month went by, 3 months went by, 6 months went by, he'd pick up a stone, it would be cold, he'd throw it into the sea. There it was, he'd pick up a stone, it would be cold, he'd throw it into the sea. A year went by, picking up stones, they would be cold, throwing them into the sea. And one day, he picked up a stone, and it was warm. And guess what? He threw it into the sea. He had become so habituated in picking up stones and throwing them into the sea that when the stone that he was seeking was not seeking him, I guess, because he was habituated, and he just threw it away. And I feel that there is a beautiful touchstone within each of us, and it's from the heart center. That we connect, and we turn ordinary experiences into celebrations of life and love. Ride, ride the carousel, reach for the golden ring. Never to finish, only to begin again. Life is a circular thing. And that when we realize that the circle of life, that we are in that circle of life, and it's sacred, that our sacred agreement is to be here and to be all that we can be, to transform our experiences, not throw them away. And even when people say, well, it's such a bad experience, there are no bad experiences, there's just experiences. We put bad or good on it. I love what Rumi said, beyond the field, beyond the thoughts of right thinking and wrong thinking, there's a field, and I'll meet you there. And that field is the field of love, where everything is transformed. So when we realize at a deep level that we have that touchstone within us, that we are transforming our experiences. And as we transform our experiences, we are the ones that are the benefactors of that. To put our fiery spirit into action, put the works with the faith. If you have the faith as a grain of mustard seed and you say to this mountain, this problem, this challenge, this thing in our lives, remove hence, it does. Because with God, all things are possible. I took care of my mother after a major stroke. In fact, she was in a coma for 21 days. And the doctor told me, he said, you're going to have to pull the plug. And I said, my mother and I have unfinished business, and I'm not unplugging that because we got work to do, and I am not letting her go until we handle it. And the doctor said, oh, okay. Well, we're just going to have to put her somewhere else, some sort of a elder home or whatever those rehabs are. And on that day, and I want you to know that I would hold her hand and I'd say, if you can hear me, Mama, just raise your little finger. And she would raise her little finger. And I said, she hears me. She says, oh no, that's just some sort of an involuntary expression that goes on within the human body. I said, no way. No way. He goes, obviously I'm not as well versed in spiritual matters as the doctor. He's being nice to me, as you are. But however, there are involuntary responses within the human body. I said, I don't doubt that. But when I say to my mama, move your, if you can hear me, move your little finger, and she does, I know she's hearing me, and she's going to come out and she's going to wake up. And that evening, she opened her eyes, and she said, oh, honey, I've been with your sister. And my sister had transitioned a few years before. And I said, oh, what Jenny have to say? She's very happy. And she's let everything go. And my sister, she had alcohol and drug issues, just as many people in my family did, and took her own life. And she just wanted me to know how much she loved me. My mother told me all these amazing, wonderful things, because we know the veil is very thin, very thin. And so she was over on the other side communing with those loved ones. And she came back. And I moved her in with me, and, we could talk about all of it, and her own alcoholism, and how it affected me, and some of the horrible things that she did. And I could, let it all go, I could let it out. And she said, oh, honey, I wish I could just take your head and put it in my lap and stroke your hair. I mean, everything disappeared in that moment. I let it all go. Oh, honey, I wish I could just take your head, put it in my lap, stroke your hair. Total love. And so, in her rehab, I was like a little militant person, making her, here's the occupational therapist, here's the physical therapy, here's what you're going to do. I was, doing all this stuff for her, and she's just like, so I don't want to do all this stuff. I know you're going to do this, you're going to be healed, you're going to be whole, you're going to be complete. And I would, dress her and do things for her, even put in her false teeth, fix it in. And one day I just thought, it's time that she do this on her own. I'm doing everything for her. I'm enabling you're not gonna put them on for me? I said, no, I'm not. You're not? What am I gonna do? And I said, you're gonna learn to put them on yourself. I just laid them out. And I heard her in there, she's so mean. She's talking to herself. She's so mean. Oh, I can't do this myself. How could she just leave me like this? Oh my God, she's so mean. And then all of a sudden I heard, well, maybe I can do this. In fact, I'm not going to ask her to help me for all the tea in China. She got really angry and she started putting on her own things, and then she calls it, I did it! I did it! I put on my own things. So when we know that someone is ready to grow, we're not going to enable them to stay where they are. We're going to allow them, even if they're mad at us, to do it for themselves. And this is why I love our way of life. You give a man bread, you feed him for a day, you teach him how to plant, you feed him for a lifetime. And I know Jesse's hearing this, the chef, the divine chef that's within us that makes something out of nothing. So today, as we gather, as we acknowledge the opportunity that the touchstone lives within us and transforms the routines of work and the celebrations of life and love, that transforms all the experiences that show up in our life and makes something beautiful out of it. And what I love about mosaics can take all the broken things and make something beautiful out of it, a work of art. And in the ancient Japanese, if a beautiful piece of pottery broke, they would glue it back together, and then they would put a gold seam where it broke. And it became even more beautiful than the original that was absolutely perfect. And it became an ancient art in Japan because the beauty of the broken places shone forth that this is what I've experienced. I love when Robert Schuller used to say, I turn my scars into stars. That we take something broken and we can make something beautiful out of it. And so all of us are broken in certain places. And we have this golden thread through understanding, through spirituality, through doing our work, through breathing through that life force energy and coming out on the other side. So today, I'm just thinking about Rosa Parks and this article that's, ordinary people doing extraordinary things, number one of the 15 that they featured in Life magazine. And Jesse, who was a part of our congregation for so many years and made such a difference in the energy field. It's pretty magnificent when someone can take their past and they move forward and they do what they do best and people notice it. So the humble beginnings to the amazing unfoldment, and to have the President of the United States say, you didn't have to vote for me. You could still be my chef. It's very magnanimous and quite wonderful. And so today we all have that opportunity to put our fiery spirit into action, to just give it a little more energy, what's working a little more fire, and realize that that spirit moving through us that transforms all of it, that we allow ourselves to purify, we allow ourselves to cleanse. And I want you to know that I never use the S word, not that other word, but sick, right? Because I feel that it keeps us stuck. So I always say when someone says, oh, you're not feeling well or there's something going on, I go, I'm cleansing. Because when you tell your body temple that you're cleansing, it responds. But if you say, oh, I'm sick, you move to an even lower frequency and feel worse. But when we say, I'm cleansing, I'm purifying, I'm harmonizing, balancing, and attuning the energy field so that I can up-level it. And so we go through our cleanses, each and every one of us. We go through emotional cleansing, spiritual cleansing, we go through physical cleansing to come out on the other side, to transform the routines of work into celebrations of life and love by putting our fiery spirit into action, because we're all going somewhere. And do you know where that is? Higher. Higher, yeah. Where is it? Higher. Where is it? Higher yet, because we are in a high place, and we will not come down. None of these outer things move me. And with Bob Hope, I loved it. Okay, God, surprise me. Surprise me. Allow me to go to the next level, to go higher yet, and be surprised. I want you to know that I love you. I'm so grateful for all of you. And if you tuned in at this moment, this message was for you. That we say namaste, the God in me celebrates the God in you, and the God in you celebrates the God in me. And if I am in that place in me, and you are in that place in you, there's only one of us. And in this beautiful Lieberman Chapel, we say, Shalom, the peace that passes all understanding. And God bless us, everyone. And so it is. Thank you so much.